Today we're going to look at how to write a simple summary. Now, a summary is something that you might write after you've done a bit of reading. Maybe you've read a book and you want to summarize the book. That means you're going to write and tell what the story was about in a few words. Not you're retelling the whole story with every single detail, but just the main details. You also might use a summary after you've done some research. Maybe you want to just write down the key points of what you learned about something and not everything detail for detail. So we're going to go ahead and look at how to write a simple summary. Now, what is summarizing? Summarizing is giving a short statement of the important points. Okay? Not every little detail, but the important ones. Why is it important to be able to summarize? Well, it lets you restate or retell key information in a way that is short and in order. So if you've read a story, it just lets you tell the key information from the story. What are the most important points? You don't need to tell every single little thing that happens in the story, just the main events, the key information. How do I summarize? We're going to use a method today called the 5-finger method. So we're going to look at using our 5 fingers. So who, what, when, where, why, and on the palm of your hand, how. And for each of those, you're going to try and summarize in 5 words or less. And to do this summary should only take about 5 minutes or so, or if you're really fast, less than 5 minutes. Now to do so, you're going to follow these 6 steps. Step 1, write who was in the story in 5 words or less. Step 2, write what happened in 5 words or less. This one might be a little bit difficult. Step 3, write when it happened in 5 words or less. Step 4, write where it happened in 5 words or less. Step 5, write why it happened in 5 words or less. Step 6, write how it happened in 5 words or less. You're going to summarize more. Take what you wrote for the 6 questions and, in your own words, you're going to write a summary that is 1 to 3 sentences long, nice and short, like a summary should be. You can keep the summary as short as possible. To keep it short, you're going to take out details that aren't needed. You're only going to include the key points, the ones that are really the most important for telling the story. And your goal is to do this all in 35 words or less. It's a bit of a challenge, but if we try hard, we can do it. Let's look at an example of how to do this. Let's take a story we all know, Little Red Riding Hood. Now, we're going to use our 5 fingers to help summarize. Step 1, who? Well, who's in the story? Red Riding Hood, Grandma, Wolf. Step 2, what happens? Well, Wolf eats Granny and Red Riding Hood. Step 3, when? Well, while walking to Granny's house or at Granny's house. Where? Granny's house, in the forest. Why? because Red Riding Hood talked to strangers, even though her mom told her not to. And finally, how? How did Wolf eat Granny and Red Riding Hood? Well, he pretended to be them. So now, let's summarize as simply as we can what happens in Little Red Riding Hood. While walking to Granny's house in the forest, Red Riding Hood talks to a strange wolf. The wolf pretends to be Red Riding Hood and eats Granny. Then he eats her too. Now, we could make it a bit shorter by taking out some details. While walking to Granny's house, Red Riding Hood talks to a wolf. The wolf pretends to be her and eats Granny. Then he eats her too. So the couple of the words that we took out were in the forest, because we've already kind of said the place is Granny's house. We also took out strange to describe the wolf. And then that's it. I made it a little bit shorter. Now you give it a try. You're going to do some reading of your own, and I'm going to get you to try and summarize the story, just like we did here. Good luck!